So yeah, first up we have Sarah, but unfortunately Holly isn't able to be with us today. As I'm learning more about the importance of being a registrar, there's so many responsibilities within that, and she's been pulled away into some important meetings today. So last minute isn't able to be with us. But Sarah is gonna do her best at covering what Holly intended to say. So I'll now hand over to Sarah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. As Stephen said, apologies. My colleague has had an emergency. She's unable to attend. However, if you do have any questions specifically for Walsall, we'll be more than happy to take them away and we can get back to you. As I said, my name is Sarah Tapscott. I proudly serve as the Family Hub Senior Practitioner in Walsall. So I started my role in January this year, and I manage several teams who are committed to the Family Hub's delivery, as Stephen has explained in the previous slides. We are especially proud to be part of the Walsall Family Hubs, where one of our standout achievements is the introduction of birth registrations. When we embarked on this journey, we recognised that there were going to be so many challenges, and that we're just not going to be able to bypass, and we were under no illusion that it would be a quick fix. However, we really took the relational approach to it, made sure it was teamwork between the family hubs and also the registrars, made sure we had a lot of patience, good communication between us, and we really were able to and are able to create wonderful opportunities for the families in our authority. If I can have the next slide, please. Um, Before approaching Holly and her team, the Family Hub's management team, we brainstormed various ideas, as I know you all probably did, to see how we can effectively kickstart the Best Start for Life in Walsall. So beyond the co-production of the design of our Best Start for Life booklet and the Family Hub's website, we really aim to create a welcoming space in the hub for our new and expectant parents to visit. We wanted them to get a feel for the environment and really understand the variety of the support offerings that we have in our family hubs. So we initiated conversations with these key principles in mind, while also ensuring that we addressed the practicality and the capacity that we have within our family hubs to lead to that change, which is absolutely key. And I've already seen some comments in the chat which lead to that idea of sometimes it's not practical and family hubs do not have the availability and space to have to input this change. It did become evident that during our planning that having registrars in the hub really would provide that valuable opportunity for both teams, but ultimately, obviously, our families in Walsall. So our registrars, this is on the slide. Why is it important? We recognise that working with the registrars, actually, we didn't fully understand the full process, what they do, how they do it, and their limitations. But equally, they really didn't have a lot of information on family hubs. So when they do meet parents, when they come to them at that first opportunity, they didn't share any information about what support was available because simply they just did not know about it. So throughout our process, we recognise that there's a big opportunity here to really promote the service. Registrars are able to signpost more effectively. So, and I'll talk about it in the next slide, but we delivered our what we call our action training. So it's our family hub and action training where we provide various services with information about family hubs, but also our early help and our action, what support we've got available. So they were feeling much more confident that should they have any families approach them, whether it be in the family hub or back at the main office, they felt confident about signposting. As we know, the hub's centralised a range of essential services. They were all under one roof. So having our registrars within our family hubs, our families were able to see that and feel that from the offset. And we arranged for the one day that we would have in our family hubs, the registrars, there's various other activities that really take place, and we use that as kind of the key point throughout the week. So we have our speech and language attend. We do have our parenting team. They put on various activities, drop-ins, and we also have our playing stays. So we really make it that full day of activities so that families get the best out of it. Introducing parents and carers to family hubs really at that earliest opportunity. So if some of you have been blessed and able to have clinical spaces where you can bring that kind of clinical space into your family hubs. That is obviously one of the most earliest opportunities. If you weren't able to do that, this is absolutely the next opportunity. And in the one family hub that we do have the birth registrations in at the moment, we did not have the capacity for the clinical space. Therefore, this was absolutely our next plan. Parents have also said that having the support closer to home was really important to them. We only have 4 family hubs in Walsall, and the main office is in the centre of Walsall, which is quite a bit away. And I suppose in today's financial climate, a lot of families find it difficult to get into the centre of Walsall. So having this on their doorstep really was beneficial. Can I have the next slide, please? So we took on the relational approach, and we really thought about this from some learning from some other local authorities, where they felt, the registrars in particularly felt, that decisions and changes were really being done to them rather than with them. So in Walsall, we embed our restorative practice, which we know is key to effective collaboration. So by taking this relational approach, both the family hubs and the registrars shared the same vision for this project. We recognise that culture change is often the hardest to achieve, really requiring that trust, open-mindedness and aligned goals. But this approach really allowed us to work with rather than to each other. Holly and her team, they felt valued, and I'm sure if she was here, she'd be able to echo that. And she really felt truly part of the team. Sorry, my dog is barking, so I do apologise. Someone's at the door. Typical. Holly was involved in every step, including the purchasing of equipment. Her staff were brought along the journey. This included informal visits to their office. So we'd go there, we'd take some biscuits, have a bit of a coffee, a cup of tea, and we just got to know each other. We talked about some of their feelings that they had about coming to the new hub. They didn't know where it was, what it would look like, and simple things such as, where's the car parking, where can we go for lunch during break. So we really built that relationship by obviously our informal gets together. Just before we launched the birth registrations, staff were invited to the hub, where they received a tour of the building. They met the family hub staff, and they also attended, I'll call it half a day training session, but it was much more informal than that. It was more of a discussion. And during that training, we designed a family hub for them, and a family hub information pack to alleviate any concerns that they shared with us during that onset. Just as you can see on the slide, you've got the training pack at the top. Just towards the bottom, one of the things that we both agreed on whilst organising this is, what information can we put in the actual birth registration packs. In Walsall, we have a newsletter that we pull together with all kind of key events coming up, key services, etc. So that goes in there. We have our icon leaflet, and obviously information on all the apps that we commission. And actually, again, that was really positive for the registrars. When they register the birth, sometimes they feel confident now to be able to talk about some of these services, and the feedback from parents is really well. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So this was Holly's slide, so I'm going to do my absolute best. So as I've spoke about, staff coming in to the family hubs, they were really extremely worried. Being at the Walsall Register office was something they all really knew. They didn't know anything different, and I suppose it really is that fear of the unknown. When the registration started, we also noticed that some of the residents were quite confused as well. So they would book on the system that they were going to the family hub, but actually when it came to their appointment, they turned up at Walsall Registry Office. So it really is that culture change, not only just for staff, but also for the residents as well. Despite there being lots of advertisement and comms, there is still that it's always been at Walsall Registry Office. All of our family hubs are extremely different. Some of the rooms that we have are multifunctional, but this leads to challenges, particularly for our registrars who really require that kind of commitment to have a safe in a room, a lockable cupboard, etc., which is in close proximity. So in the family hub that we do have our registrars, we're quite lucky because we have a room direct off the room, a very small room, which we hold their safe. So their safe fits in there. They have a lockable cupboard, which is in the main room next to their desk. And in that lockable cupboard, that's where they have their screen, their printer, and any of the stationery and leaflets that they require. And this seems to be working quite well for them. Um, the technology is possibly one of the biggest problems that we have in Walsall. So the building that holds the registrars is an extremely old building, and adding additional kind of data points, etc., in the room has been a challenge. However, this has, as of last week, we've now got new data points in there, which has now led to the printing capacities to be much more better and much more flowing at ease, which is brilliant. I think one of the key things that I've seen in some of the messages that you're possibly all saying, it really is that security for registrars, which possibly was the biggest challenge. It was the safe. Initially, we purchased the wrong safe. Unbeknown to us, within family hubs at the start, we purchased a safe that, to be honest, I could probably pick up and move about. Obviously, that's not appropriate. So we did have to rejig that and purchase, obviously, a much larger safe, which with that security. Now, Holly was going to talk to you a little bit more about the safes. Unfortunately, she's not here, but if you do have any questions on it, we can absolutely talk more about that. But they are the key challenges. So when we look at the challenges to the positives, I think the positives really outweigh the challenges that we have experienced. Can I have the next slide, please? So what's next for Walsall? So now that we have really cemented and really succeeded with the one family hub having birth registrations, we are going to extend to 2 further family hubs. Holly is currently in the process of recruiting more members of staff so that we can increase that capacity. We're also looking at increasing the number of birth registration appointments throughout the day each hub, and I believe this is something to do with the booking system that we do have in Walsall. At the moment, they would register between 10 and 15 families a day. Holly advises me that they do much more than that when they are in the office. So they are really working towards trying to increase that and obviously reducing the time that the birth registrations are taking place to allow that capacity to unveil. And we're also going to continue with the communication plan to really push further that raise in the profile of birth registrations. We're holding off until we've launched the other 2 family hubs so we can do that much wider, but we really want to go out to make sure information is in the hospitals, GPs, and other council buildings that we have to really kind of raise that bar. Can I have the next slide, please? Not going to read through this, but we really celebrate. We celebrated our first birth registration, which was brilliant. We put on a few cakes for the day. We really kind of invited families in to come and get a sense of the family hub. So we do have on the screen Rare's mum, Diana, and father. Can't think of the father's name, I do apologise, but they chose the family hub because it was closer to the home. Their experience was really positive and it was a lovely experience. They felt really welcomed. A few weeks ago, we hit the 200th birth registration milestone, and again, they chose it because they rather came to the family hub rather than travelling into Walsall Town Centre. And I do believe Holly has the exact figures. I do believe we're almost at 250, and we continue to increase. So it's something really to be quite proud of. Can I have the next slide, please? So I think it's really important. Staff are important. If staff are not happy with change, then that does affect obviously the service delivery, the mood that we have for our families, etc. So I just wanted to share that even though we had those few worries at the start from staff about the change that they were experiencing, they are really committed and they are very comfortable. They feel welcomed in the family hub. They quite like our buildings in our family hubs. They're colourful, they're welcoming, very different from those in the Walsall Registry Office, which is good. They feel much more confident, about the information that they share with families. They feel they are able to give a little bit of signposting, a little bit of guidance if anyone has any questions. They know now that they are in the family hub, they truly understand how important and beneficial having the registrars in the family hubs is to families, and feedback, as you can see from parents and carers, is equally just as positive. I've just picked out a few. They feel the staff are friendly. That's not just the registrar staff, but it goes from the receptionist to the parenting team, um, so that's good. It was nice to have somewhere closer to home rather than going into Warsaw. Again, the building is bright and welcoming. The newsletter that we develop, families found that really informative. And in fact, following that, we do see our families come back to the family hubs to take part in our Dad's Playing Stays, any of our PEEP story time. So we ask them where they've heard the information from, and most often it is actually from the birth registrations. And a lot of families said they had no idea that the family hub um, was where it is. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it included. So actually, by coming here for birth registrations, they were really excited to know there's lots of free activities, and free is the big word. Free activities for families to come and take part in. So on the whole, it is quite positive. I am just going to just add the only issue that we do really have with our family hub is possibly parking, and that is because it is a really old Victorian building, and the car park isn't the greatest. However, we do have a car park down the road, but that's why we have to, when we invite parents and we invite staff in, kind of give them that information sheet just to let them know where facilities are. Okay, and I think I've gone over, and I'm so sorry, Stephen. But yeah, has anyone got any questions? Hopefully, I can answer some of them.